It's 2022, and although you might have forgotten about it amid all the pandemics and world wars, Apple just had a new launch event recently. This launch event promised some long-awaited Apple products that, let's be honest, we've all been looking forward to. In case you missed the event or just want a recap, we've made a list compiling all the details that have been released so far. Here are the 5 new products that Apple announced in their March event. Without further ado, let's dive right in. 1. iPhone SE 3.
The iPhone SE 3 is finally coming, and I'll be sharing the details right after this.
Probably the most awaited iPhone now that the iPhone mini has been discontinued is the iPhone SE 3. The iPhone SE 3 has been rumored to be in the works for almost 2 years now, and finally, it's time that it's released. The iPhone SE 3, much like its predecessors, will feature the same iconic SE design. Yes, you heard that right. If you're someone that was a fan of the large bezels and home button, the iPhone SE 3 has got you covered. The performance of this phone is also supposed to be on par with the latest iPhones, as the SE has always had the latest chip in it. There are some drawbacks here, as the phone is still a budget one. First of all is the camera. The iPhone hasn't had a single camera module at the back since the iPhone SE 2, and now it seems this trend is going to continue on the iPhone SE 3. This means that we're not going to see any real improvement in the back camera portrait shots due to the lack of a second camera. That being said, the portrait mode is still going to be pretty good due to Apple's advanced image processing. It's just not going to be as good as the rest of the iPhone lineup that has dedicated depth sensors. The second drawback that we're going to see, and in fact we're actually expecting, is the bad battery life. The battery life in iPhones has improved significantly over the past few years, and the iPhone was actually the winner of the battery test by MKBHD.
This phone is going to perform the same way it does today, as it does in 2 years, as it does in 4, 5, maybe 6 years, and that is a priority for an iPhone SE buyer, which is the longevity.
It's just sad to see that the iPhone SE doesn't follow in the steps of the rest of the lineup. The reason for its bad battery life is the small battery, which is expected to be somewhere around 1800 milliamps. Even with Apple's optimization and cutbacks that will most certainly be a part of the iPhone SE, an 1800 milliamp battery is just not going to cut it. Add in the fact that this phone is rumored to come with 5G, and you can pretty much say the battery is going to be bad. Presumably even worse than the iPhone SE 2, which struggled with battery life thanks to its industry-leading small size. 2. New iPad Air. Next up, we've got the new iPad Air. The iPad Air 5 has been in the rumor mill since 2021, and now the time has come for Apple to unveil the iPad's most loved brother. The iPad is said to be coming with the new M1 chip. Unfortunately, the new iPad Air is coming with an LCD screen. And yes, I know, Apple makes sweet LCD screens, but come on, it's 2022. For those of you that were hoping for a ProMotion display, Apple has one thing to say: keep dreaming. The iPad Air will come with some improvements, mainly in the battery and camera region. Both of these upgrades are due to the M1 chip, which not only has better battery optimization, but also significantly better image processing. The new camera is also coming with center stage and improved color processing when it comes to skin colors. What we do know for sure is that the front camera is going to get a whole range of improvements. Lastly, the cellular models of the iPad Air are going to cost $900. The iPad Air this year is more powerful than some Windows laptops in the same price range thanks to the M1 chip. The non-cellular models start at $600. 3. New Mac Studio display. Remember Apple's last Pro XDR display for the Mac Pro? Well, this year, Apple has decided to take things a step down in the overpricing department. There is a new Mac Studio display, and it's available for just $1,600 with a stand included. Yes, you heard that right. This year, we don't have to pay $1,000 extra for the stand alone. The new Studio display is 5K and has an LCD screen. It is also 60 Hz, which is a bit of a bummer, but as far as the actual build quality goes, this thing is the best in the industry. The new display is also different from the others the industry offers, as it's 5K whereas most others are 4K. The new display has a 12-megapixel camera which comes with an A12 Bionic. The same chip that was powering the iPhone 11 is now powering this display and is there to help with the image processing too. The camera offers center stage when it's plugged into a Mac. However, if you're using a Windows PC with the display, all the image processing and center stage features go away. The display, too, is part of of the Apple ecosystem, and when it comes to strictly spec comparisons, it is a bit overpriced. One more thing to add here is that the new display needs an additional $400 for the height adjustment feature. You can't even adjust the height without paying those additional $400. In addition to that, the power cable is also fixed in place, and unlike conventional monitors, it cannot be removed. Linus from Linus Tech Tips tried removing the cable, and it did not end well for the display.
And they spent time and energy. The actual human life was invested to make this worse.
The new Studio display also has built-in speakers which are surprisingly powerful and well synced. If you're a light user, you might not even need additional speakers. As far as built-in speakers go, this display has some of the best ones in the market. Lastly, we've got the image quality of the webcam. The image quality, contrary to what you might be expecting thanks to the A13 chip, is actually not good. Like, it's actually awful. Even with a Mac and Apple image processing, the image quality is barely usable. Apple has said that they will improve this in a future software update, but as of right now, it's pretty horrible. Imagine a monitor that needs a software update. Talking about updates, the monitor has 64 gigabytes of onboard storage. Not sure what that's for, but it's there all right. 4. Mac Studio. The new Mac Studio is Apple's answer to people that were asking for even better performance than the Mac Pro, but at a better price and with a sleeker design. The new Mac Studio comes bearing the all-new addition to the Apple Silicon lineup, the M1 Ultra. This new chip is more powerful than the M1 Max and offers performance that far exceeds that of any currently available Mac on the market. This new Mac Studio is also more affordable than its previous counterparts and starts at $1,999 for the M1 Max model and $3,999 for the M1 Ultra model. One concern that people have been having with the new Mac Studio, however, is that the new SSD modules in the Mac Studio are locked through both software and hardware firewalls. Some analysts have argued that these SSDs might in fact just be raw storage modules instead, which might be Apple's way of getting around the right to repair law. But as of right now, no one knows for sure. MKBHD also mentioned in its tweet that the air vents on the Mac Studio are completely inaccessible. So in case your Mac Studio ever gets some dust buildup inside it, you don't have any option but to take it to an authorized service center. 5. New iPhone colors. This has now become a trend with the new iPhones. Every time the sales start to drop a bit, or people start to think that the new iPhone isn't that big of an upgrade, Apple releases new colors to revamp the hype. This time, they released 2 new colors, Alpine Green and Green. The iPhone 13 Pro will have a much more subtle and matte finish green, whereas the iPhone 13 has a more vibrant green with a glossy finish. The difference in color makes the iPhones look more premium, and also revamps the hype which usually starts to die off by now. The edges of the new models are also color matched to match the new green color. And while this announcement isn't nearly as big as the other ones, it certainly does deserve a section of its own. And that is it for this video. What did you think was coming this March? And what were you most excited to see? Please leave a comment telling us down below.